All right, welcome back to another episode of the Average Fantasy Football Take Show. Name still being workshopped, but for now, that's what we're rolling with. A lot to get to today, including some drafts. I don't know how much I'm going to talk about the So You Think You Can Tout episode. If some people in the chat want to talk about it, we'll go a little bit more in depth. I'm definitely going to share some of my thoughts and opinions on the episode over the course of this show. But the other kind of side topic that we have to get to today, other than some drafts, is I just did a very, very big deep dive on what I think is the most important range in drafts this year. And that's the running backs at the 1-2 turn. Current ADP has them, has 8 straight running backs coming off the board. And I think kind of navigating that range, that area of drafts is going to prove to be very, very crucial. So I'm going to try and work that in. I've got a huge article coming out tomorrow at rotostreetjournal.com. Link is in the description to my author profile. It should be up sometime tomorrow morning. I'll definitely be tweeting it out as soon as it is live, but it's like 5,000 words going through my stance and the profile on the profiles of those guys, putting on my very best Patty Kerrane hat, and just trying to parse through whether these guys have the upside to be worthwhile picks in that range of drafts. But like I said, I'm going to kind of get into some of my surface level takes and kind of breakdowns of some of those guys as we kind of work our way through these drafts. Don't know how much I'll get into for that. Just kind of some side conversation, something to talk about in between picks. But I'm going to get this draft rolling here. The Puppy 2 has filled, so I will be playing and entering some of the Poodle today. But yeah, let's hop in a draft. I'm going to get my overlay set up here, and we will be in the draft room in just a moment. So I'm going to be entering in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See if we know anyone who is in this lobby. But for the time being, we're waiting on 10 here, so I'm going to have a couple minutes. I think the best way to start this off with some of those side topics is the So You Think You Can Tout episode. I know that there is a lot of crossover between people who consume best ball streams and people who watch that show, so hopefully some people will enjoy some conversation on that. But it was undoubtedly a very, very shocking episode. Obviously, my buddy PPR Tyler got sent home. They will be talking about that on the Toxic Tower stream, which should be live not too long after I'm off the air. So go check them out if you haven't already. It's sure to be a very, very interesting episode, because for people who are not caught up, he went home at the hands of his co-host Eric BBG. Took a package. They're calling it Make-A-Wish week for BBG. He took a package of a couple of streams with Pete and Pat Kerrane to kick his co-host out of the show. So that was very, very shocking. Individually, I did not advance past the first round of this debate tournament, of this challenge, but I'm not terribly disappointed with my performance. I thought I was just okay. And I think my grades from both Jacob Sanderson and Pete kind of reflect that. What's good, Hartman? Thanks for tuning in. Like I was saying, I think my performance was just all right. My two topics were just talking about whether or not you should be creating content alongside the show and just the viability of zero RB. I think my side, debating that zero RB is viable in 2026, was a pretty tough topic. I think I gave my best run of it. I don't think it was my best performance just in terms of like being captivating or being particularly engaging. I think I shared some good points and out debated Nathaniel. Like Nathaniel kind of teased it was I don't know the word. Confessional. It was a confessional. He said like, I was all right at this. Yes, I do have a background in like extemporaneous speaking. Not a heavy background, but like I can go on really any topic on my toes and fare all right. Tony was obviously the best at it. He was very, very good, very captivating, but I think I held my own. It wasn't an otherworldly performance from myself, but I had immunity in the first place. So I am on to the top 6 of the So You Think You Can Tout competition. And I think this video should be pretty interesting, this challenge. We're going to find out some specific details from Mr. Peter in a couple of days. But we are in the draft here. We're holding down the 10 slot here. A couple of names I recognize, a lot of badges, and then a couple of us holding down the fort as no badges. But should be a pretty similar team to what I drafted on my last stream, my first stream. I have unfortunately basically not all of, but a disgusting percentage of my teams have come out of the 9 through 11 slot this year. And again, I haven't been putting up big numbers yet volume wise. I'm shooting for around 250 teams. I'll definitely land somewhere between 200 and 300 by the time September rolls around. At this point, I'm only at 30. I will definitely be big time batching some slow drafts over the next 6 weeks or so. And then obviously hopping on some live stream drafts and just doing some off stream as well. But I'm not too concerned, but I've been building a lot of the same teams, just kind of falling in line with my player takes that line up on this side of the board, just because I've been pulling picks 8 through picks 11 just so often. It is what it is. I know the RNG gods will kind of balance me out moving forward, but it is kind of frustrating that I'm kind of lined up to draft an eerily similar team to what I did on the last stream. Probably going to end up starting out with the likes of a Justin Jefferson, a CeeDee Lamb, if they're there. We'll see how the board plays out. But we are up in a couple of picks here. It sets up nice for me to talk about some of these running backs, and I'll definitely get into that as the 1-2 turn kind of comes about, because like I said, those were the profiles that I kind of looked into and broke down really heavily to just try and get a feel for them. And just because, like I said, it's just such a crucial range of the drafts. You're basically boxed into taking at least one running back. Like, you can pull up the likes of Brock Bowers, the likes of AJ Brown, even if you want. I saw someone on Twitter was talking about AJB going at the 13, at the 1-2 turn. I'm pretty sure maybe it was 14, but you can justify pulling those guys up. It's not for me. I'm not going to be doing it. So in my eyes, basically, if you're at picks 8 through 12, you're boxed into taking at least one running back. So that's why, in my opinion, it's just super crucial to kind of get a feel for how those guys separate and where they kind of stand. So I'll be rolling with CeeDee Lamb, just like I did in the last draft to open things up. I think hero wide receiver, when it makes sense, is the way to play things this season. So CeeDee Lamb there for me. I've got him ranked 8th. So nice to get him there at number 10. But then we'll definitely be going with a running back in this range. I do like Drake London a lot, but just structurally, I do think it is better to grab a running back there and get that room starting to build that room out. So we'll see who gets to us here. There's a couple of names that I do really like. So we'll see who comes off the board here, and then we'll make our pick. So James Cook goes. That one makes this really easy for me. So I guess this kind of tees us up to talk about Kenneth Walker. And like I said, I did kind of try and put on my best Pat Kerrane hat and just kind of, because I fully subscribe to his idea of legendary upside. I mean, it is obviously the namesake of his YouTube channel and his content platform. But for those who are unaware, it's just kind of the idea that just given the loftier bust rate of running backs at the top of the draft board, you basically have to be targeting guys and profiles who can define a fantasy season, just completely take over and put up the 20 half PPR points per game, the 20 PPR points per game that just completely define a season, and they're just lapping the field. And if you have that guy, you're basically in a redraft league, you're basically advancing to the championship. You're riding them through the playoffs, and then hopefully they get you there in the playoffs weeks. But I do think Kenneth Walker possesses one of those profiles, I will be incredibly high on him in all formats this year. And so let me just kind of throw a couple of interesting numbers your way. So some of this is narrative based, some of this is kind of analytically backed. So the thing with Kenneth Walker is that anyone who has a good head on their shoulders in this space has been pounding the table for Kenneth Walker for the better part of his entire NFL career, especially these last couple of years. It hasn't exactly panned out, but we all kind of know why. It never really was a talent thing. It was more of a workload thing. Really heavily split backfield with Zach Charbonnet each of the last couple of years. But moving to Kansas City, I really think his ability to, at a minimum, push for 300 touches is unquestioned. I don't, just given the state of the depth chart, it's Amari DiMercado, Emmett Johnson, and Brashad Smith behind him. So I don't think that there's going to be anyone who's stealing touches, and it's not like this kind of like running back dead zone type of deal where you're just kind of just projecting touches. Like I think that I mean, I don't think this is a hot take by any means. He is very, very much talented enough to just ice these guys off the field, keep them off the field, and consolidate the workload to a degree that we haven't really seen for him in his career. So the volume box checked. I think it's obvious. I mean, they paid this guy like $43 million. They're not going to force feed him touches all year. There's no way they're going to not force feed him touches all year long. And then he has a career high of 9 touchdowns, nine total touchdowns in a single season. I think with Patrick Mahomes, he can absolutely smash that number in a Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid offense. I know that this is one of, across the past 5 years, like the most pass-heavy team in goal-to-go situations. But I do think that kind of with the decline of Travis Kelce and just the commitment that they made to Kenneth Walker in the offseason in free agency, I do think we could see that script flip a little bit. But let me make this next pick here, and I'll continue forward on my Ken Walker spiel, my diatribe. So a couple of interesting names here. We'll see kind of who comes off the board. I can't imagine that this guy's going to grab Javonte. I'm not a super big Javonte bull to begin with. We could try to grab Ladd to get some KC week 17 stuff going, but I'm not going to try and pull him up that far. It's only a couple picks, but let's just see where this guy goes here first, and then we'll make our decision. Zay Flowers is always in the cards just because of how much I enjoy building out those Lamar teams. So let's just play it by ear. T goes. I think I am going to go with Zay Flowers and then hope that McConkey makes it back to me. But these wide receivers are about to get picked clean with the two guys having 2 running backs behind me. So going to lock one in here and then go from there. Yeah, no surprise. Ladd goes there. Let's let these guys make these 3 picks real quick. I will play the board and then get back to a whole a bunch of thoughts on Ken Walker there. I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to grab Josh Jacobs. Just in terms, Josh Allen goes, so it makes the decision a whole lot easier. It's Jacobs for me here. I will be grabbing him I know I've got Javonte Williams and Garrett Wilson ahead of him, but I will be grabbing him and pulling him up a lot more while I think his ADP is depressed. Kareem Hunt had 9 touchdowns last year. Walker might put up 29. Yep, completely agreed. Like I really do think that like 15 plus touchdowns would be just no surprise at all. Like pushing for 20. He corrects. Hartman corrected himself to 20. That's obviously more realistic. I think pushing for 20 would be a little bit surprised, but I would not be surprised if he's flirting with that 15 to like 1 per game. Survivor Squared, Tony Squares, welcome to the program. Thanks for tuning in. I know we've had some of our differences in the show thus far, but Like I said at the top of the stream, your ability to entertain is unquestioned and probably at the top of the pack in terms of who is left in this show. So congrats on your win in this most recent challenge. DM me if you want to spill some details on what we've got coming up next week. But thoughts on Emmett Johnson cutting into Ken Walker volume? Obviously, there's very few running backs who truly consolidate all the work. I do think Emmett Johnson will play a role in some capacity in this offense. I mean, like we even saw, even though it was very limited, we saw like Brashad Smith getting some work. So like they're gonna have packages, they're gonna have things, spots where he gets utilized. But in terms of meaningfully like slicing into and chopping down Kenneth Walker's total touches and just his role in the offense, I don't think he's going to be much of a factor. He's an interesting pick just because he's associated with Andy Reid and Kenneth Walker and Patrick Mahomes, and the RB2 behind Ken Walker isn't entirely solidified. I think Emmett Johnson will get a run from his money from DeMercado, but I think he is the second most intriguing click in Kansas City in that backfield. But getting back to kind of my thoughts on Kenneth Walker here. So we talked about the volume. We talked about the touchdown equity. Just one other kind of quick tidbit, like just why the Chiefs were so willing to commit just an enormous amount of money. I don't know if everyone's entirely aware of this, but the Chiefs running backs have recorded 2 carries of at least 25 yards in the last 2 seasons. Kareem Hunt went for 1 and Isaiah Pacheco went for 1. I think they were both like 33 and 34 yards. So like this rushing game has lacked juice so badly for the last couple of years. Like it's honestly like insane that they've kind of just like stuck to their guns. And I know like a Breece Hall trade was on the table last year at the trade deadline. I'm shocked they didn't pull the trigger on that. But so as to why they kind of added this guy, and just another reason to just kind of buy into the idea that they are just going to ride this guy into the ground and just force feed him touches. Awesome takes, Michael. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you very much. But then the other aspect of this that I find very interesting. So let me make this pick real quick. Yeah, this one's pretty easy for me. I'm going to grab BTJ and then ideally grab Jaden Daniels. We do have one guy behind us who's already got a QB1. So I'm going to grab BTJ. Love me some BTJ. And then try and do something with Daniels there moving ahead. But the other aspect of like why I'm so bullish on Ken Walker, like we all know who kind of Ken Walker is just in terms of his player archetype, like what he brings to the table. Like he has rightfully so like established himself as a boom bust guy, kind of a home run hitter. He can juke guys out of their shoes. He can rip long runs, but the consistency just hasn't been there. I'm going to make this pick real quick. Jaden Daniels is still there for us. Shockingly, Caleb Williams goes ahead of Jaden Daniels. This one is an easy click for me. So yeah, like I was saying, we all know who Ken Walker is, just the home run hitter, the boom bust guy, really low success rate. But the explosive run rate topped the league last year among guys with 100 carries. And so did his missed tackles force per attempt. He can create yards, unlike many other backs at a level that many other backs in the league can't replicate. But I think there's reason to believe like his carry to carry floor, PPR Tyler logging on from the alt account, from the burner. What's up, Tyler? Hope you're doing well, man. And looking forward to your stream later tonight. But like I was saying, I think that the Chiefs offense can lift Kenneth Walker's carry to carry floor in a manner that we did not see in Seattle. So I want to like first preface this, like credit to Sean Siegel, him and Ben Gretsch, Tyler back on the main. Tyler back on main. Thanks again for tuning in, buddy. Ben Gretsch and Sean Siegel. Sean Siegel kind of brought these ideas to the table, and I was looking at some other data sources and kind of pulled some other things to kind of just like look at this information on my own. Obviously, he was not bullshitting. I was able to find similar data and come to similar conclusions as he was. But like the Seahawks versus the Chiefs, just like over the last 4 years, the dichotomy in which like the chasm between the two teams' ability to create yard for the offensive line to create yards for their running back is enormous. So Fantasy Points, who I go to for most of my data, they have something called stuff rate. I don't remember the exact definition off the top of my head, but like over the last 4 years, like it's like less than 3 yards on first down, less than 4 yards on all other downs. I might be mixing that up, but basically just like runs that get stuffed. It's pretty straightforward. The Chiefs versus the Seahawks, like it's a meaningful difference. Like Seahawks running backs, Charbonnet included, and whoever else is carrying the ball they're getting stuffed at a much higher rate than what we saw from the Chiefs running backs last year. And then the same goes for the percentage of carries in which running backs are contacted at or behind the line of scrimmage. Like I said, I pulled 4 years of data on this. Let me make my pick here real quick, and then I will talk about some of those data points. For me, it's Tucker Kraft. I swear to God, I'm just like building out the exact same team that I was before, but looks like we're going to be rolling with some Commanders and some Packers stuff here. As long as Kraft is there. Yeah, so an easy pick. But I pulled 4 years of data. I'm just going to kind of point to the last 2 years. So the percentage of carries in which the ball carrier has been contacted at or behind the line of scrimmage. In 2025, the Seahawks were 26.6%. In 2025, the Chiefs were at 14.4%. And then in 2024, Seahawks 27.2%. And the Chiefs 19.6%. So that is a massive difference. And I don't think that those lofty numbers for Walker can be chalked up, or for the Seahawks can be chalked up to Walker alone. Like I said, it includes all ball carriers for both teams. It's not just Walker by himself. So I think it really comes down to the offensive line talent in Kansas City versus Seattle. I know Seattle's been working to improve things. Let me make this pick really quick here. I'm going to go with RJ Harvey here. I think that his upside is not similar to those of the guys who are in this range. So what I was getting at is like I think that the difference there in terms of the percentage of carries that in which the ball carrier was contacted at or behind the line of scrimmage, I think that it can be chalked up to talent along the offensive line and then just the presence of Patrick Mahomes. And Siegel brought up that point in that podcast, which was from several months ago at this point. But I wholeheartedly agree with it. We kind of all know what, not necessarily Mahomes is a dynamic quarterback, but just the threat of him just being on the football field and just everything that you have to account for, his scrambling ability, his ability to get the ball to all three levels of the field and just having a rocket of an arm and his improvisation from the pocket and just as a scrambler. I really do think that it can improve efficiency for a running back, raise the floor for a running back. So I really think that is all going to land on Kenneth Walker's shoulders, and it's going to really, really lift his floor in terms of his ability to consistently deliver like positive gains, just keep the offense on schedule, keep the sticks moving. And then of course we also have that breakaway ability for Kenneth Walker, and on every single play, any touch he can take for 20 plus yards. So I think that the difference in environment and the increasing workload, I mean, obviously his price reflects that, but I think it's reason to be all in on Kenneth Walker at cost. So like I teased, Kenneth Walker will be a part of that article that's dropping over on Roto Street Journal tomorrow. Link in the description again. So I will be all in on Kenneth Walker this year. I'll be scooping up bags. It will definitely be tough, like in redraft leagues, to kind of parse through which guys I want to truly target and have on my teams, because you can legitimately make a case to pull up any of those 8 guys to the top of that range, in my opinion. So that will be a conversation for another day. But for now, get your Ken Walker bags while you can. Get to the chat here. PPR in the locker room right now with headphones full blast. Indeed he is. Buddy went completely like off the grid last night. I mean, I shot him a text after I found out that he got eliminated, and I was like, sorry to hear it, man. And then he like surfaced in the Toxic Tower Discord like 3 hours later. So I think he was abstaining from being on the internet last night. Dichotomy and chasm in the same sentence. Pencils out, phones down. Yeah, gotta pull out the big time vocabulary. Gotta teach PPR some new words here. You having no badge is pretty elite. I can't lie, buddy. I'm trying to have a badge. Like all that means is I just haven't had like a shipped a big best ball contest yet. I'm trying my hardest, man. I think I have like I've been doing best ball for 3 years, and I think I have like 400 drafts on DK. So I've like recouped some of my winnings, but like I'm definitely down money and have not like shipped a big enough contest to earn my badge, and not getting there on volume from best ball alone. So I think I definitely missed out on Trevor Lawrence. I was so into that Kenneth Walker talk that I just completely missed it. I am going to just grab Pitts here and round out this tight end room. This will be a 2 tight end team for me. Let's see. I'm going to have to pull some back stacks out of my ass, but that's okay. We have done worse in the past. We can still get some things going with the Jags. I do want to get some stacks going for Jaden Daniels here, but for now, I'm not too worried about setting some things up. I might just go. So I'm going to easily grab Jordan Love here. This might just be a 2 QB team. I'm a lot more comfortable, like I said in my last stream, I'm a lot more comfortable than some other guys, but we'll figure it out here at the end. For this mock draft in the top of your show, what are your thoughts on Chase Brown? I don't know if I want to get into the full Chase Brown diatribe. I just did like 10, 15 minutes on Ken Walker alone. I don't think, and no one's going to put, so I'll keep my thoughts on Chase Brown short and sweet. I don't think anyone is going to argue that Chase Brown is even in the same realm as these other guys talent-wise. Like the Saquon Barkleys, the Derrick Henrys, the James Cooks of the world. I don't think anyone is going to try to make that argument. And I'm like a Bengals fan. Like if anyone was going to make it, it'd probably be me. But I don't think I think he can be pulled along for the ride just with receiving volume and scoring opportunities. So just to tease where I will fall in that article that's coming out, I am in on Chase Brown at cost this year. I think he should be a target in that range of drafts. Stud, thank you, Jiri. Enjoyed catching your stream yesterday. Missed it today, but glad to see you continuing to keep the ball rolling. Thanks for popping by. Max Adam in here as well. Just took round 2 KW in a redraft league. It's Chef's Kiss. Indeed it is, buddy. I don't know what pick you got him at. I think anywhere in round 2 is justifiable and reasonable. But just knowing that simple fact, I think that your team is probably off to a hot start. Does Samaje take enough work to be worth picking? I don't think so. I really don't. Like, he's free in drafts, but really all you're really hoping for out of him, like at most he'll get like a couple of carries like here and there. Like there will be weeks where he finishes with 0 carries, but what you're really hoping for is that basically he houses a screen or can compile 4 receptions in a game. And then like there's just such limited contingent upside with him in this offense. Like I don't think his role like expands to the degree that he's like a must start even flex if Chase Brown goes down. I talked about Taj Brooks a little bit on my last stream. Let me make this pick here real quick. I do kind of want a running back, but I think I'm going to grab a receiver here. I'm going to grab Coker yet again. Try and try to get down on my Travis Hunter bags, clear some of those up. But I would be fine if he makes it back to it. We'll have a decision to make. I like a couple of these guys. Obviously, I'm a very, very big Rashid Shaheed bull. He is featured on my Instagram. We're close personal friends. So yeah, I'll probably grab Shaheed here. I'm fine with that. This could very well be a 2 QB, 2 tight end team. I'll probably be inclined to take a 3rd tight end, but we'll see. But yeah, the contingent value for Pirine, I just think it's just so limited that it's just not worthwhile. Cause like the path to like him even hitting your lineup in a single week with Brown healthy as well is just so thin. Like I said, just either a long touchdown out of nowhere or just picking up a couple of receptions. Like, he's not going to get there with a touchdown and like 40 yards from scrimmage, because I just think he's going to see such limited work in the red zone. So I probably won't be picking Pirine. I will definitely, especially on DK, I haven't live streamed any DK drafts, but I will definitely have some Brooks in the 20th round, just kind of knowing that he is the bigger candidate to get the rushing work and play on early downs. So I'm kind of out on Pirine. I don't think there's really any value there. Pick 20. Your team is goated. Yeah, if you're in a league where you're getting Ken Walker at pick 20, I think you're going to be a-okay to run the table there. I cannot wait to see how that. You'll have to tell me how that plays out through the middle rounds, because if Walker's making it to 20, you're going to be in a good spot. What up, Max? Hope you're doing well. Hey, PPR, I'm doing well. Max, whose stream were you on the other day? Oh, you were on About the Touts. That was awesome. I caught like 75% of that. That was awesome. I'm glad that they brought you back on, because definitely one of the more talented contestants, just in terms of being totally engrossed in like the data side of fantasy football. Very, very talented in that perspective. Obviously, the first challenge that Max was in, didn't put I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I think you would agree, didn't have his best, which was unfortunate to see, because he definitely could have thrived and done well in some of these other challenges. So wish we got to see more out of him, but at least they had him back for an exit interview and just kind of talking about the rest of the challenge. So that was nice to see with Mike the other day. And then unfortunately, we'll also be having my buddy Tyler's About the Touts exit interview stream. So that will be interesting. That and the Toxic Tower episode, the behind the scenes of what kind of unfolded for this most recent episode. But I was Chig is hopefully going to make it to us here. I hadn't seen him go off the board. That would be nice to have round out our tight end room, because I feel like we're in a pretty good end. There goes Chig. So scratch that idea. Maybe we grab an Antonio Williams or yet another Katron Allen share to stack up Jaden Daniels with someone. I'm not terribly concerned if we don't stack him up with anyone. I am going to grab Brian Robinson here, just to add some contingent value and some thin paths to hitting our lineup if Bijan stays healthy. From there, wouldn't mind pulling up Antonio Williams, but I think we can kind of just go free form here the rest of the way. Got some stacks lined up for Love, so I'm not too concerned about that. I'm going to grab Jeremy Bernard. I don't want to pull him up that far. I could get him in another round. I don't mind grabbing Debo. I do still think Commanders is in the range of outcomes for Debo this year. Bulls pick Caleb Wilson. I was waiting for someone to hopefully say this in the chat, because obviously the NBA draft is going on right now. I am a Bulls fan. For those of you who do not know, we are back. Nick Claxton just acquired basically as a free agent signing the other day. I think that was yesterday. Tyler's Timberwolves just had to get off Julius Randle's contract and got nothing for it. We get Nick Claxton. We get Caleb Williams, Modest Buzelis, Josh Giddey. The Bulls are looking frisky. I said this last year, and then they started out really hot, and then they were terrible. I said this last year, but the Bulls are frisky, man. Caleb Wilson is sick. I know this isn't a show for college basketball or even NBA people, but Caleb Wilson is the premier lob threat in the college space right now. And he's like 19 years old. He's coming to the Bulls, high flyer, menace rim protector. The Bulls, look out. We are coming. The Bulls are not frisky. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. No. We have been better than a 10 seed with worse rosters in the past. We decided to tank too late last year. We decided to tank. That was not reflective of what this team's ceiling is. I think the Bulls could be good. Josh Giddey's underrated. Modest Buzelis, I remain optimistic about a full-blown breakout. I mean, he is so long and just so nice just as a slasher, and his shot has been coming along pretty nicely. And then Caleb Wilson, Nick Claxton is nice. We have a redshirt first rounder, Noah Senge. So another big. So it's very, very, very. I'm optimistic about what the Bulls have to offer. Preach, bro. Can't say I don't have FOMO, but it didn't deserve it. Got to get reps in. Buddy, we're all getting reps in. DM me on Twitter or DM me wherever. We'll set up a stream together if you'd like to come on, obviously. Would love to have you on. We can talk some ball, and I can get some more of your takes that we missed out on from when you were in the show. Just shoot me a DM if you'd like to set something up, and we'll get something going here in the next week or so. But that would be fun. So yeah, I will say, I know you do Top One Fantasy on Instagram. I've been seeing those posts pop up, and I always think of you, and I just like want to comment like, man, Max knows his stuff in the comments, and no one would have any idea what I was talking about. But can you figure out how to get 2 people on stream all by yourself? Buddy, I know you helped me out. But hold on. Let me make this pick, and I will have my rebuttal for you. I'd like to grab one more tight end, actually. I do think this is a 3 tight end team. I think we're fine, kind of. I'm going to save I just really don't want to grab like a routes guy at this point. So I'm going to save it for probably one of the Rams guys later on. I'm just going to grab a running back here. I think that Sean Tucker's a fine click here. Do I know how to get more than 2 people on stream all by myself? I mean, yes, Tyler. I know you helped me with the overlays and stuff, but I have used StreamYard before. I just haven't like done all like the background producing stuff. Yes, I know how to do the basics of StreamYard. I'm not like Chad Candles or Nathaniel going like no audio on these streams. So yeah, I think I'll be all right, buddy. I appreciate all the help though. I think that this is probably going to be a 7 wide receiver team. So I'm just going to close that out here because I'll probably grab Katron and a tight end. So I'll grab Jeremy here. I think he's a good value in the 180s. I know PPR Tyler will like that one, but it's straight bait, bro. Some of those rankings are fry. My buddy who does the graphics is on Hinge. I know, but like I can tell. But like even if you make good rankings, like because I've done like some social media stuff for fantasy, like people will become unhinged in your comment section, like no matter what. So like, yeah, I can tell, but like I still always think of you when I see those graphics on Instagram and stuff. Just asking, Mason Dodd has 0 clue how to get 2 people on stream. Mason Dodd doesn't need to know how to do anything, bro. He's like built a channel to like 300 subs. Like he'll just hop on live, and like it doesn't matter what it looks like. People will tune in whether they like him or not. And I also can confidently say like Mason Dodd does not give a shit. Like he's raking it in. So he will be A-okay without like not knowing a damn thing about StreamYard. I'm sure he's got an army of behind the scenes people whipping things up for him, and the level of like the bar for his content in terms of just like how it looks aesthetically has got to be so low just because of how big of a platform he's already built. And obviously like this is not to disparage him or anything, but like people will tune in basically no matter what he puts out just because of how big of a community and how big of a fan base he's bought. Yeah, I'm checking now. The Bulls have indeed. I was not baited by Tyler. The Bulls have indeed picked Caleb Wilson. So that will be fun to take a further deep dive. I did look into it just because that's how things were kind of lining up for us before the draft. So I'll have to take a further deep dive into who is heading to the Windy City. But like I said, tight end here and probably Katron. I'll grab Katron because T-Ferg is gone. So all the tight ends left are kind of gross. I have seen some Michael Mayer steam in the last couple of days, just given the fact that like all the 12 stuff, obviously, and just how Brock Bowers effectively functions as a slot receiver. So I think that could be a viable click. I don't know how many pass catchers that Mendoza/Cousins will be able to bring along with them, but maybe I go with my guy, Mike Gesicki, just in Chicago. I'll probably end up doing that, but 2 picks to make here in this first draft. And I'm just now realizing that my me being a novice in the streaming streets, I have failed to service the audio listeners at any point throughout this stream. I have been going on and on about Kenneth Walker and the Chicago Bulls instead of doing that. Katron is gone, so we'll have to pivot. We're at a 2.57.2 right now. I'm going to grab Gesicki, lock that in, and then just take a stab at a running back later on. Maybe we do. I mean, I'll inevitably be suckered into Marshawn Lloyd, but like I have to at least tease the idea of me taking someone. Actually, no, I can't do that. I have Josh Jacobs. Good thing I caught myself there. I'll probably end up taking Braylon Allen. I think I'm medium levels of buying into what Aaron Glenn was saying about a three-headed monster. I do think that there will be a non-zero role there for Braylon Allen. Obviously, there was going to be some sort of a role, but I do think it could be enough for him to hit the lineup a couple of times. And obviously, if Breece goes down, he offers that kind of two-down profile to deliver some hopefully impactful weeks as a replacement for Breece Hall. But to service the audio listeners, first draft in the books, 2.673. Again, I'm a lot more comfortable with than most other folks with these two QB builds, especially with how much Jaden and Lamar and those kinds of guys I'm going to be drafting. So I am A-OK. Quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels, Jordan Love, Ken Walker, Josh Jacobs, RJ Harvey, Brian Robinson, Sean Tucker, Braylon Allen, CeeDee Lamb, Zay Flowers, Brian Thomas, Jalen Coker, Rashid Shaheed, Deebo Samuel, Jeremy Bernard to round out the wide receiver room, and then Tucker Kraft, Kyle Pitts, the man who just got paid, and Mike Gesicki in the tight end room. All around, I think that there is this is a pretty solid team. No stacks for Jaden Daniels, which I'm not sweating really in the slightest. There are plenty of examples of games where he gets there and does not bring along the pass catchers. I'm kind of down on McLaurin anyways. And then two pieces there for Jordan Love. No regard for week 17 correlation, but got to get there first, buddy. Got to get there first. So I'm going to hop into one more pointer here tonight. And then I will hopefully, in the process of doing so, hopefully I'm on one of the ends of the draft board, because I do want to tease my thoughts on at least one more. Maybe I'll do a third at the end of the final draft, but I'm going to make a pre-recorded video kind of going deep into all 8 of these guys. And I think I'm also, not to spoil anything, but I'm probably going to do something about running backs in general. So I'll include some of this information with BBG. I'm going to do a video with BBG, so I'll include some of that in that video. So pre-recorded video from me on this, article from me on this, and then some teasers here in the stream. But let me get this second draft fired up, and then we will hopefully hop into one of those running back profiles and kind of break it down. So entering this draft right now, perhaps see some familiar faces. But yeah, now is a good time while we wait for this to fill to talk about another one of those running backs at the 1-2 turn. Again, if you're just now tuning in, super, super important range of the draft. Obviously, just any first or second round pick is super important, but just given how the board is setting up for basically everyone to be forced to take a running back in this spot, and I think it makes sense to do so anyways. Take at least one running back with one of your first 2 picks. I think it's crucial to kind of navigate through these guys' outlooks and pick your spots and figure out which guys you're going to be targeting. So I think the second one I'm going to run through here is James Cook. And not to spoil it, but I will not be having a big bag of James Cook this year. I think that's kind of a common take amongst best ball bros. I mean, obviously he'll have his proponents. There's people who are obviously drafting him at the 1-2 turn. So we're at the 105 here, kind of falling in the middle of the board. That's okay though. We'll still plow through kind of this James Cook talk. So just kind of to get the conversation rolling, just setting the bar for what James Cook has offered us over the last 2 years. So the reason, kind of like the driving force for why I'm gonna be out on James Cook this morning, or not this morning. I got tripped up there by Chad. Good morning, Michael. Hope your night's going well. Thanks, Chad. Thanks for tuning in for a minute. But why I'll be out on James Cook this offseason, this season. So last 2 years, I really do think that they have been ceiling outcomes for James Cook basically in every perspective. So last year, I think he tapped out from a volume and efficiency perspective last season. 309 carries, 1,600 rushing yards last year. I don't think that getting any more efficient or taking on any more work is possible for James Cook. I don't think he is the type of guy who is going to be pushing for 1,800 yards like a Derrick Henry or a Saquon Barkley. And I just don't think he's ever very few people are, but ever going to get past the 15 touchdowns that we've really been seeing. Last year was 14 touchdowns. The year before was 18 touchdowns. So the 2024 campaign, it was really driven by the touchdown number. Let me make my pick real quick here. JSN for me. So in 2024, it was the 18 touchdowns, powered him to 16.7 points per game. Last year, 1,900 yards from scrimmage, 1,600 of which were rushing, and 14 scores were 17.8 points per game. So and that's PPR points, not half PPR. So I like I said, I really do think both of those are kind of ceiling outcomes for James Cook, and maybe he blends it together. He gets to 1,900 yards from scrimmage and 18 touchdowns. I don't see that happening, but like I was saying, ceiling outcomes, and he never eclipses 18 PPR points per game. So I just don't see a world in which he gets to that legendary level where it's like 20 PPR points per game, because the only avenue in my eyes for his fantasy output to grow is through a receiving workload. And that's just never been James Cook's game. And I don't see that changing in 2026. So last year, let me pull up these numbers here. So last season, 217 routes, 37.1% route participation. Those 217 routes ranked 22nd among all running backs, and his 40 total targets came in 25th. So really limited usage as a receiver, not really limited, but not something that's going to allow you to really his receiving work isn't going to buoy his floor is kind of what I'm getting at there. And it's not going to be able to help him reach that kind of upper echelon of running backs here. And like I was saying earlier, I just don't see it changing. Joe Brady is still in place as the play caller here. And so hold on, we're going to make our pick here really quick, and two running backs that I will love to take here. Again, structurally, like to grab a running back here. So I will forego Drake London, even though I have him ranked higher than Derrick Henry. Pick up the big dog. So again, don't see it changing. Joe Brady in place as the play caller, and Ty Johnson is still on the roster. And whether you like it or not, this guy, Ty Johnson, is their go-to guy on third downs. I can't remember who said it. The quote's 2 years old at this point, but it's been referenced numerous times in the fantasy space. Whoever it was, whether it was McDermott or Brady, they think that Ty Johnson is the best third down back in the NFL, and it shows up in the numbers as well. Ty Johnson played 70.5% of the third down snaps in Buffalo last year. If you have that limited of a role as a pass catcher, a third down role, which obviously hampers his ability to rack up receptions, Josh Allen obviously going to be scrambling a fair amount, and just the target totals over the course of his career, he's never really been a guy who's even really threatened to haul in 50 balls in a year. So I just don't see an avenue to James Cook pushing his ceiling even higher. I don't think that he can do much better. I think what we've seen over the last 2 years has been at the top of his range of outcomes as a rusher, and I don't think more receiving work is coming. And so I think at best we're going to get more of the same from James Cook, which is sub 18 PPR points per game. That's not quite a legendary season. It's a very, very good season. It will help you pay off in the late second round, pay off at cost in the late second round, and in the late first round or early second rounds. But it's just not going to allow you to reach the upper ceiling, the upper percentile outcomes that are accessible for those other guys. Chad's pushing back. Isn't the same thing about the lack of receiving upside the same with Henry, though? I'm a little worried he could get managed to and lose some volume. Yes. So let me make my pick here, and I'll kind of dabble in the Derrick Henry streets. For me, it's going to be Rashee here. I'm going to try and get some Chiefs stuff going. I would like to get some more Mahomes exposure. So let me just cue some of these guys up and try and get some Chiefs stuff going. So my thing with Derrick Henry is, yes, the lack of receiving work definitely caps whatever his ceiling would be if he was a pass catcher. There, it's undisputed at this point, but he's proven that pushing for 20 touchdowns and 2,000 rushing yards is well within his wheelhouse. He's finished above 1,900 rushing yards in 2 seasons across his NFL career. He somehow manages in healthy seasons, like it's a touchdown a game with this guy. He's going for 15 to 18 touchdowns effectively every single year. So he can, like, in my opinion, him getting there with the rushing work alone is enough for it to be justifiable to take him at cost, because he can get to the 19, 20 point per game seasons just as a rusher. And obviously he'll catch some dump offs here and there, but basically all you're getting from him is rushing work. Like, I don't think we truly appreciate just how ridiculous it was for this Ravens offense in 2024. And obviously that was 2 years ago at this point. Derrick Henry is now well past 30 years old. Lamar Jackson's getting older, but I don't see why they can't rekindle some of that level of explosivity and efficiency. Like, Derrick Henry's numbers in 2024 alongside a healthy Lamar Jackson were like truly absurd. I mean, he had 18 carries of 20 plus yards over the course of the season in 2024. He was more than 1 carry per game going for 20 plus yards. I mean, it's just like ridiculous numbers across the board. Let me pull them up here really quick. Yeah, 5.91 yards per carry, 20 carries, 18 or 19 carries of 20 plus yards, excuse me, and then 20 carries from inside the 5-yard line. It's just totally ridiculous stuff. So I'm going to try. Ooh, Colston Loveland is staring me dead in the face here, but I would like to pack it in at wide receiver here. So I'm going to go with Devontae. So I think that they can recapture some of the magic that we saw in 2024, even though both of them are starting to get a little bit older. Because I think last year, like, the numbers, perhaps this is wrong. Perhaps I shouldn't be doing this. I'm more than willing to, like, kind of hand wave it away. And it's not like it was a bad year either. Henry was still very efficient. He still basically had 1,600 rushing yards, and I think it was 14 touchdowns. Like, it was a very, very good year. It just wasn't enough for him to pay off at the back of the first round, the top of the second round. It was like, I think 16 points per game. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but I'm willing to buy into the idea that they can return to those 2024 levels. All the vibes coming out of training camp, and I know it's not exactly the most actionable information, but Lamar is in love with what Declan Doyle is bringing to the table. And again, him being back healthy, we know what his presence can do for a running back's efficiency. So after I did not take Colston Loveland. That's still in my mind. I'm still going to take DeAndre Swift here. Perhaps we do something with the Bears. Could, like, backstack like a Komet or something. But I like to, again, tease another profile. I will be in on Derrick Henry. Like, he has not given me any reason to believe that he will be slowing down. Yes, the numbers regressed last year, but it does not take a major in data science or some expert in data analysis or modeling to understand why they took a step back. Lamar effectively played 1 month of the season healthy, and he was terrible in that 1 month of the season. He comes back, of course, but is quite clearly a shell of himself. So I think with this offense firing on all cylinders, I just think that Henry can reach otherworldly levels of efficiency as a rusher. Once again, like, he's done it already. He's done it numerous times. And Chad does bring up a fair point. I'm a little worried he could get managed at this point in his career and lose volume. Again, like, I don't know. Do I want to try and jump off the train before I know it's coming to a stop? Like, because like I was saying, I don't know if if it's coming to a stop just yet. So they might just try to get the most out of what this guy has left in him and then just leave him for dust. I don't know how many years he has left on his contract. I can't imagine is any more than 2. So we'll see. The Ravens will definitely be going balls to the wall in pursuit of a championship, but I'm perhaps a little too overconfident in just how much work he can take and how efficient he can be with it. Big dog not hamstrung by QB goal line rushing to the same degree like Saquon and Cook. Exactly. I don't know if there is anyone who is still falling for that. Like Lamar is just not a goal line rusher. I think I'm going to keep things balanced here and grab another running back. Everyone likes Pollard right now, but I also do like Tony Pollard. So going to have to figure out, probably going to end up with a Mahomes, maybe a Stafford. We'll see. But just trying to plan out some stacks here. Try and grab a Chargers piece to have a bring back with the Chiefs stuff going. Yeah, I don't know if anyone's buying into the idea that Lamar is still a goal line force, especially now. Like there's zero reason to rush frail ass Lamar Jackson at the goal line when you've got a 230-pound monster standing right behind him. So yeah, he got loaded up in that 2024 season, 20 carries from inside the 5. I think only Josh Jacobs had more in that 2024 season. So plenty of scoring opportunities. If there is one guy, I said it ahead of that 2024 season, like no one wanted to be in on Derrick Henry. I was in just because like it's so easy to sell yourself on the idea of him scoring 18 plus touchdowns, 20 plus touchdowns. And I'm kind of right back there this season. So I think I'm going to be back in. Chad says, yeah, Henry definitely benefits from there not being a great option to take away any base work. Oh yeah, undoubtedly. I mean, like they did some like kind of like gadgety stuff for Keaton Mitchell in years past. He's obviously gone, and that was obviously never came to be too much of a thing simply because Mitchell was just injured all the time. But yeah, like who's coming for it? Rasheen Ali. We all know Justice Hill's not coming for it. What's the name of the guy who they drafted, like Adam Randall? It's obviously not going to be these guys. So I will try to push Mahomes here. Let's see if we can get, a little too early for Laporta. I'm just going to grab DK Metcalf here. It'll set us up for a back stack if we need to on Aaron Rodgers. But yeah, like I just, how do you justify loading up anyone other than Derrick Henry all year long, 20 carries a game if they can? And I do really buy into the idea that Jesse Minter will get this defense in a spot that they can keep this in like Derrick Henry favorable game scripts for most of the year. The defense was utterly horrific, and I don't think it was a question of talent. I mean, I'm not like some defensive guru, X's and O's ball knower, but I mean, just kind of knowing the caliber of guys that they have on that defense, I do think it came down to Zach or their defensive coordinator. So I do think that the defense will be better next year, which quite clearly works in Derrick Henry's favor, the most game script sensitive player in the history of fantasy football. So it's just, we all know that the fall off of Derrick Henry will come at some point. I have no reason to believe that it will happen in 2026. No signs of slowing down. Physically, just a specimen, like a one-of-one guy, an offense and just a team environment that just so perfectly caters to what he does and what he does best. I mean, the 2024 Ravens, like, I'm a Bengals fan, so it's like hard for me to do this, but like, it's just hard to put into words just how impressive they were. And I've been teasing throughout this live stream, like the article that I wrote, like the way I put it is like, it was basically the 2018 Mahomes led Chiefs, but just like on the ground, like Lamar and Derrick Henry, just watching them rip off chunk gain after chunk gain and just punishing defenses week after week. It was just such a sight to see. So we push Mahomes here, and it's going to force us to kind of scramble here. I don't mind taking Purdy and trying to figure some things out later. I think we do have some good backstacking options. So I'm going to leave it. I'm going to grab Sam Laporta and get this tight end room going. I think that's a good pick there. I thought Fannin would have been a good pick as well, but I'm fine with Laporta there. It also sets us up for Goff. So we're going to have a lot of options here at quarterback to get some stacks rolling and just hope one of these guys makes it to us at the next pick. So not too worried about that. I think this team's shaping up in an all right fashion. No elite quarterback because we were kind of playing for Mahomes there. Not the best call on my move, but it is what it is. Build a little bit of a different team here than we usually do. To finally service the audio listeners, a 0, 3, 4, 1 through 8 picks: Derrick Henry, DeAndre Swift, Tony Pollard, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Rashee Rice, Devontae Adams, DK Metcalf, Sam Laporta. A lot of stacking options for us here at this next pick. So we will see how the board plays out for us and then go from there. All right. Hoping that Stafford makes it to us here. It might not get past this pick, but I would be surprised if this guy doesn't go with him, if Webb Powell doesn't go with him. Yeah, Purdy goes. I don't think this guy will grab another quarterback. And, of course, he does. He grabs Stafford. So I'm not going to mess with it. I will grab Goff and then probably grab Tesla a little later on. Maybe grab Pacheco. I don't really want to. I don't like Pacheco. But I'm okay with that. Goff isn't a bad consolation prize there. Then we'll end up definitely going 3 QBs. I will definitely make it a priority to grab both Darnold and Rodgers, grab Seahawks and Steelers pieces where we can. Obviously want to be grabbing some Shaheed. We'll see. Just going to get all these guys kind of queued up and then play the board as it falls. Pittman, Rodgers, Bernard. Yep. So we'll have plenty of options to kind of round this roster out. But yeah, I think that's kind of all of the running back stuff that I want to tease in this live stream. I'm going to do a full pre-produced, pre-recorded, no promise on the quality of the editing chops. Very much a novice in that world, but I think there will be a lot of good information, a lot of good data takes, some narrative stuff. Obviously, you kind of have to go in that direction when you're kind of trying to paint a picture. So there will be some kind of off-season reporting stuff, of course. But a lot of good information in that video and that article coming out tomorrow at rotostreetjournal.com. Be sure to check it out. Also, I did a full review of one of the teams that I drafted on my last live stream. Go check it out at the Right Way Sports Network. It should be linked in the description. I actually might have forgotten it, but I'll add it to the description after this live stream is done. Another a full breakdown of all 18 picks. Not anything super, super hard hitting, but just deeper thoughts at the top of the board, and then just some kind of quick hitting stuff for the later guys. Don't need to dive too deep into why I selected Jadon Blue in the 18th round, but some good stuff in there as well. So no need to kind of push anything for any of these stacks at this point. Can continue kind of building out the room, see who's there for us. I don't mind grabbing George Kittle. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to go with here. On track for week 1. It's never been a volume thing for Kittle. It's always been kind of a touchdown and efficiency thing. So I'm a little hesitant to believe that he can maintain that level of efficiency coming off the Achilles. Obviously, anyone who is evaluating Kittle's outlook should be hesitant in that regard. But I think the discount is enough. I mean, George Kittle is just such a nice pick to have for you there right around pick 115 at the end of the 10th round. So I'm fine with it. And then I probably will end up pulling up my guy, Rashid Shaheed, at 125. We'll see who's there. I don't mind it at all. And then play for Darnold the next time around. Get a Darnold double going. I'm just praying, literally every time I've said this is what I'm planning to do, that guy has gotten sniped. Yeah, Liam, thanks, buddy. Shahid in the queue. Liam is very, very familiar with my Rashid Shaheed stance. I once conjured up a seance for Rashid Shaheed, and it worked. It was against the Chiefs, that Monday Night Football game when he was with the Saints still, the Derek Carr, Clint Kubiak year. Conjured up a seance for Shaheed to go for like 80 yards and a touchdown, and it worked. But also, go follow my buddy Liam on Twitter. He's doing some really cool stuff. I'm pretty sure he clawed up a tool, but it's a very cool tool. Just kind of tracking ADP and stuff. And he tweets about it over there. I believe his handle is LBoyleFF. Very smart guy, fun to talk to about some fantasy stuff. So make sure to go give him a follow. Honestly, us best ball sickos are highly interested in your round 18 blue takes. Why wouldn't you be drafting Jadon Blue in the 18th round? Appreciate it, brother. Of course, Liam. Always love chatting with you. Love seeing your stuff on Twitter. Why wouldn't you want Jadon Blue in the 18th round? Like, why would you? If you were in on him last year, did the fact that he got redshirted entirely push you off of the idea that he can beat out Malik Davis for the RB2 job? For me, it did not. It has not pushed me off of the idea that A, and I believe that there is a report already talking about this, A, that he could have some sort of standalone role, and B, if Javonte Williams goes down, he could be the 1A. I don't think, like, physically speaking, he's not the archetype to just be a set it and forget it, like bell cow kind of guy. I don't think that's really what's going to happen, but a 1A in what we all project to be one of the most potent and fantasy friendly backfields in fantasy football. So, like, why not take that stab in the 18th round? And you could argue that, like, why not wait for the news? But basically all the contests that I'm going to be drafting are these time box contests. I'm not going to have that much BBM. So, like, waiting for the news is not really something that I'm going to be doing. Like, if I think Jadon Blue has a chance to have some sort of a role, I'm just going to take him now. And I do, like, I think, like I said, think he can beat out Malik Davis. I was in on him last year. Darnold gets sniped from us. I got to start paying more attention to these picks, man. We are going to have to get gross with it. QB is really ugly. I'm just going to take Stroud and figure it out. Oh, fuck. Did I just take Pacheco on accident? I definitely did. Wow. First misclick of the live streaming career. Expect to see many, many more of those to come. But that's okay. I'm not too worried about it. We still got Rodgers there for us. There is a stretch of running backs here that are logical picks here, and I could figure out something for them. My blue conspiracy theory is they benched him at halftime week 18 because he's playing too well and was going to raise questions about why he never played. This is one way to look at it, not the wrong way. And if I'm not mistaken, he like was really, really, really good. Like, let me pull it up. Jadon Blue, what his like fantasy total was in that week 18 game. Because if I'm not mistaken, it was like actually really impressive when they finally like allowed him to do something on the football field. So let me pull that up really, really quick. Game log real quick. Yeah, he played the first time he ever played more than 20% of the snaps. He played 64.8% of the snaps, 16 carries, 64 total yards, 1 touchdown, 12.4 PPR points, RB16 on the week. Solid stuff in his first like legitimate go as an NFL running back. So like, I don't know. I don't think the fact that he got redshirted last year is enough for me to get off of the idea that he is more talented than Malik Davis and can be the go-to guy should Javonte Williams go down. So it's not too difficult of one for me to sell myself on. Okay, I think I'm actually going to try and push. No, I'm not going to try and risk it. I was going to say I can try and push for Mendoza. I'm just going to grab Jones here, bring him up to the top of the queue. Grab Jones here. Not anything too interesting in terms of back stacks for Jones. Like I could get a DJ Giddens, but I'm very concerned about Daniel Jones in general this year. Just the Achilles just destroying him. But this team was kind of in shambles in the quarterback room. It's kind of in shambles in general. Not the strongest poodle bullet from myself, but it is what it is, and they can't all be shippers. I'll have to send this over to Kurt Ramos. My favorite part not to get on like a full blown aside here. My favorite thing about Rambus is that like I swear to God, like 3 times a week, he's like drafting the eliminator and he's like, good luck running into this one. And like it's just so great that he thinks that like one of his teams every like 3 times a week, he's like, yep, this is the one. And he's just like daring people to run into it. So I don't know. That just always makes me chuckle when it comes up on my Twitter feed. He's just like, it's a screenshot of his team and he's just like, good luck if you see this one in the eliminator. Miss having Rambus on the show. He was definitely a very, very fun dynamic to have, but he's been getting heated with my boy Nathaniel in Discord and on Twitter. I'm very excited to see how that vote plays out. Goofy, a little bit more so you think you can talk. Goofy Chicken, for those of you who missed out yesterday, Goofy Chicken and Nathaniel in a head-to-head vote to see who remains and moves on to the top 6. I haven't gone and counted the votes myself, but I quickly perused and then saw the stuff on Twitter from Lou and Pete. It seems to be very, very tight between those two. So hopefully we're able to get some clarity on that. I wouldn't mind seeing either of them make it through. I think both are deserving, but one will have to go home, and then we will kind of just size up the competition from there. But I think I'm going to have to pull up Rodgers here. I don't really want to risk it turning into a complete disaster for my quarterback room. This team definitely needs 3 quarterbacks. And, of course, dude, I swear to God, I'm like, I might lose it. Like, I'm going to have to, like, take an unstacked Geno with my next pick. I mean, like, not an unstacked Geno, but, like, shit. This team blows. Happens. Can't do much about it. Let's try and plan out some stuff for the Jets. Adonai Mitchell, Geno Smith. Gonna try and go for the 1-2 punch. Can always grab a Braylon Allen. Mason Taylor is dust. He will be lapped by Kenyon Sadiq this year. It won't even be funny. And they spent a 2nd-round pick on this guy. Oh, my thoughts on the PowerPoint karaoke. I completely forgot to address that. I am so sad that I did not make it to that round. I think that's like right in my wheelhouse. Like, and I know I can say that I've literally never done it, but just kind of like going with the flow and keeping like a story going and adapting. I think that's something that I could do well with. I do like question like, how much does this actually tell us about people's skill set in the context of what they're going to be asked to do later? I think it's very important to be able to like kind of go with the flow, adapt on the fly, but like the topics were just so ridiculous that I did it kind of like stretch the definition or like stretch what skills would be needed. So I'm sad I didn't get to do it. I was like right there on the cusp, and I think I deserved I think I could have been like graded a little closer to Cups. He was like the last one in. I was the last one out. I'm moving into the last round, and obviously like he face planted in the next one. No shade to Cups. That's just how it played out. I think I could have done a lot better than Cups in that stage of the debate, like kind of competition. Whether or not I would have been able to replicate what Emo and Tony Squares did, I'm not entirely sure, but would have loved to see myself doing that kind of portion of it. I'm sad I didn't, but obviously just didn't put a good enough product out there in the first stage of the debate tournament to put myself in that position. Feels like Cups got Wembied. If he did worse round 1 and missed, he would have been looked at more favorably. Yeah, I mean, I definitely, yeah. If he kind of just like, he just like kind of like me, like so missed the cut and was just like, okay, didn't like completely face plant and then just kind of went home for the night and moved along. But it would have been interesting if I had advanced and Cups did not. It would have been interesting like how Pete would have done the eliminations. Cause like I kind of like my presence being there, given that I had immunity, kind of like forced his hand into like kind of getting creative with it. So it would have been very interesting to see how he would have done it if it was 4 of them who were all like eligible, quote unquote, to be eliminated. So that's something to think about. But yeah, like advancing and then face planning, not ideal. If he would have just like kind of done okay and then just gone home, I think that would have gone over a little bit better for him. But this team kind of needs a tight end. I'm just going to grab I'll go one more receiver here. I do like some Branch. I don't have enough of them, and it's like 11 picks past ADP, so I'm going to grab him here. Is that Mikey Jackson? No, it's just me. Michael O'Hara, FF, in the live stream streets once again, entertaining my many, many viewers. Do you think it was good you had immunity? Obviously. Yeah, obviously. Like, one, who wouldn't ever want immunity at any stage in this point of the competition? Like, even before like Pete had said that the winner of the challenge was going to get like some sort of an advantage, I was going to come into it aggressively and like hoping to do well and putting my best foot forward. So like that was never really a question. So I'm going to grab, I think this team needs one more running back for sure. And I guess the world's weirdest skinny stack with Geno Smith, and then we'll close it out with one more tight end. This team is really, really weird. Not my favorite team that I've ever drafted, but shit happens when you kind of get fucked around with your stacks. But yeah, obviously it was good. And then I didn't advance past the first round. Like I was saying earlier, like who knows what happens if like there are 4 people, none of which have immunity in that kind of like final tier, that chopping block. So I don't know how it would have played out, what Pete would have done, but yes, I am happy that I didn't have immunity. Like I said, it didn't make the cut with Pete, and I've said it on other places before. Like when I had my call with Pete, when he told me like when we had the whole decision about whether or not I get immunity, I think that like my versatility is what has kept me in this challenge for as long as I've been. I think I can win this challenge, but like I'm never going to completely face plant, I don't think, which is like really, really good for like just kind of my staying power. Obviously, like when it kind of gets even further down, hopefully I'm still there. Hopefully like I can like I did in the YouTube video challenge, like I can rise to the top and like be really, really good. But like I don't think I'm ever going to face plant in any of these challenges, like really no matter what Pete throws at me. So I think that's like a nice little like feather, not a feather in my cap, but like I don't think I'm ever going to go out and completely embarrass myself and like get dead last, like because I was just objectively horrible, which is good. So we'll see what they throw at us this week. I don't want to like talk myself up too much and then like go out there and be dog shit this week, but it's nice. It's nice to kind of like at least be in that mindset personally. So I'm going to queue up Terrence Ferguson, and my buddy Lundar will undoubtedly take him right ahead of me. He's got 3 tight ends, but why not add a 4th? Because Michael's got him queued him up and is wanting to take him. So unfortunately, Terrence Ferguson will be sniped right out of my hands here. But we'll make one last pick, share some closing thoughts, and we will get out of here. So Terrence Ferguson, to close it out, 3-5-7-3, Jared Goff, Daniel Jones, Geno Smith, Derrick Henry, DeAndre Swift, Tony Pollard, Isaiah Pacheco, Braylon Allen, JSN, Rashee Rice, Devontae Adams, DK Metcalf, Rashid Shaheed, Tesla, Branch, Laporta, Kittle, Terrence Ferguson. Not my finest team. I'm going to be honest. Not my finest team, but they can't all be winners. All you need is one winner, to be honest. So maybe it won't be this one. Maybe it will. We're wrong all the time. But that is the final draft that I'm going to be doing today. Share some closing thoughts here, and then get you all on your merry way. Thank you all again for tuning in. I'm really, really appreciative of it. Wait, you are just as handsome, Mikey, LOL. Thank you, Angry Dragon. Maybe we will have some of those wet hot takes. I'm mad you guys let Tony win. I'm mad too, man. I don't know if I have the chops to beat him in that kind of setting, just because like it was just, can you be captivating and entertaining? I think Tony sets the bar for that in this challenge. So I'm mad he won. I wanted to win myself, but it is what it is. It's on the next. Something new comes at us every week, something that could be right in my wheelhouse. So we'll just have to wait and see. Great stream tonight, and good luck with the next challenge. Thank you, Chad. I will be busy tomorrow morning. I will not be able – actually, no, I won't. I will be there tomorrow morning. I will see you bright and early, assuming you are live at 8:30 a.m. I will definitely check in while I'm having some cereal or some breakfast. Probably smoothie, actually. Bravo. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you very much for tuning in. Better light them up next week, boy. I will. I will not tease what the challenge will be, but I have an idea. Of what it is, and I think it does indeed fit right into my wheelhouse. So I'm hoping that it is a banner performance from Michael O'Hara, FF, Average Fantasy Football Takes. See you, pal. Yep, see you, Angry Dragon. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jiri, for tuning in. I will see you guys sometime later next week. Check out on my Twitter. I'll keep you guys posted on what the streaming schedules look like. RotoStreetJournal.com. Huge article, like 5,000 words on some of the top running backs coming out tomorrow. Be sure to check out some of my written takes, written thoughts. Thank you again. I will see you guys later on.